Welcome back. Evan Power has been the chair of the Republican Party of Florida since January, after the previous chair, Christian Ziegler, was forced out in a sex scandal. Since taking over the party, he has continued to grow the voter registration advantage for Republicans in the state, believing that by Election Day, there will be 1 million more registered Republicans in Florida than there are Democrats. I had a chance to speak to Evan Power by Zoom while he was visiting Israel. Evan, thank you very much for taking the time. I know that you're in Israel right now, and I want to talk to you about your trip in a minute, but I want to start with the politics here in Florida. You know, as you know, the CBS News poll recently came out that showed that Donald Trump ahead of Joe Biden in Florida by 9 points, 54-45. But it also showed that a vast majority of Floridians think the 6-week abortion ban is too strict. Do you think that the abortion issue may come back and bite you in the butt on some of these down ballot races?
No, I don't think so. I think what you look at is it's not one of the most important issues facing Floridians. They care about the economy, they care about inflation, and they care about immigration. And I think that's what people are going to be voting on.
All right. So right now, I think that you have, what is it, about 800,000 or 900,000 registered voter advantage in the state of Florida?
Yeah, it's a little over 900,000.
And you believe that you're going to grow that to 1 million before Election Day?
That is our goal. I think we're either going to get there or get very close.
And tell me why you think Republicans have been doing so much better at getting folks registered than the Democrats are. What is your secret sauce, in your opinion?
Well, I think we have leaders that have delivered on the promises that they made in the campaign season. And so people are excited to be Republicans. They're excited to move to Florida to be Republicans. And we're seeing the success of what we've delivered here as an agenda in Florida.
I do want to go back and just ask you again about the 6-week abortion ban, because, again, more than 56% of Floridians said that they believe the 6-week abortion ban was too strict. Was the 6-week abortion ban a mistake?
I don't think it's a mistake, and I don't think it's an issue that voters are going to vote on.
Okay. I do want to get your reaction to a couple of things going on here. I'm sure you've been keeping up with the news. And one of the things is the TSA had a delegation from Cuba come to visit Miami International Airport on May 20th, Cuban Independence Day of all days, to tour some of the facility. Apparently, this is not the first time it's happened. It happened in 2011 and 2015 as well. What's your reaction?
Well, I think it's a failure of leadership by our Democratic presidents, obviously, in 2 administrations to do that. If they're letting Cuba do that, and on Cuban Independence Day of any day, who's next, Iran or China?
All right. I want to sort of get your take. You talk about the economy being top of mind of folks, but Florida has one of the highest inflation rates, if not the highest inflation rate, higher than the national average. Doesn't that fall more on problems with both the governor and the Florida legislature in not addressing those issues than it does on the president?
No, I don't think so at all. I think what you're having is you have massive inflation across the country, and then people are fleeing to Florida to get away from their Democratic regimes, which has in turn risen our housing prices and other things. So I think it's a fact that we're doing the things that are right. It's up to the administration to bring down inflation, bring down prices. But that's why it's worse here, is because of housing has pushed it forward.
I want to sort of get your impression on a couple of things. One of the things that's in the news as well here, it's about your predecessor, Christian Ziegler, the former chairman of the Republican Party. There has been a lot more new details that have come out surrounding his sex scandal involving his wife, Bridget, and he sort of hunting for women to participate in sexual trysts with the couple, going out to bars, taking pictures of women without them necessarily knowing about it, sending them back to his wife. What's your reaction to everything that went on and continues to come out with regard to your predecessor, Christian Ziegler?
Well, that is not the person that I thought I knew, so it shocked me also. But I think I would say that the party did the right thing by acting quickly to get rid of him, even when we didn't know all these details. And I think it was our decisive leadership of our board to move quickly so that these headlines are now our former chairman, not our current chairman.
Do you believe that Bridget Ziegler, who is a member of the Sarasota School Board, should resign her position?
I think Bridget's going to have to make that decision and do what she thinks best for her and her family. I'm going to leave that to the Ziegler household.
Yeah, but she's in that position as a Republican. You're chair of the Republican Party. How would you counsel her? Do you think that it would be better for her to step down?
I think it's a distraction, and you have to determine if that distraction's enough. I'm not going to make that call for her, but I think she needs to figure out if she's representing her constituency in an adequate way.
All right, you're in Israel, and I want to talk about that for a second, because we were supposed to do this interview about an hour ago, and then, of course, because of a rocket attack in Israel, your bus was delayed, and it took you time to get back to where you were able to do an interview. Talk to me about the trip that you're there and what you're seeing in Israel right now.
Well, it's very interesting to be here and see firsthand what the results of October 7th are on the people of Israel. And what I see is a society that wants to exist and wants to live in peace. And their desire to live in peace is being misconstrued by radicals in the Democrat Party and saying that they're doing horrible things. I mean, if American citizens were exposed to what these citizens are exposed to on a daily basis, they would want some peace and security in their homeland also.
Isn't that a danger, though? Sort of what you just did there, by making it a partisan issue, by dividing Democrats and Republicans. I know of a lot of Democrats that are very supportive of Israel, and I know of some Republicans who are questioning some policies as well when it comes to funding for Israel and trying to hold it up at times. So doesn't Israel do best when politics is taken out of it? And I understand you're speaking as the chair of the Republican Party, so naturally a lot of it comes through that prism. But isn't that the danger that Israel wants to avoid, is that becoming a partisan fight in the United States?
Well, I don't think it's a partisan fight. What I think it is that there's a very small percentage of Democrats who've made this their issue, and that's not reflective of the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. I think if you look at polling, 70 or 80% of our people support the Israelis as our partners and teammates in the world, and it's a small group of people that have taken over campuses that the current administration's let drive the agenda rather than what's in the best interest of our friends and allies.
Can you be supportive of Israel and also question the way they are prosecuting the war in Gaza, and questioning whether or not they are doing enough to protect civilian life? In other words, if you automatically question the Israeli government in terms of how they conduct the war, are you automatically anti-Semitic?
I wouldn't use those terms, but I think you can question things. But I think what I would tell people is what they're seeing on the news is not the reality day to day. You have people who are determined to wipe the Israelis off the face of the earth, and you have to govern yourself accordingly when you're here and when you're having to survive that on a daily basis.
All right, I only have about 45 seconds, and the first block of the show, we had Debbie Mercosur-Powell on. She's running against Rick Scott. Rick Scott is also trying to be the Republican leader, rather presumptuous, assuming that he's going to be reelected. But I'll give you the last word on talking about, one, do you support Rick Scott's efforts to become a Republican leader? And two, how do you see the race between him and Debbie Mercosur-Powell?
Rick Scott's going to win his reelection, and he's going to win it big. But I think, when you need a job done, you send someone from Florida. You look at the success we've had in Florida, and I think we need more Florida leadership on the national level.
All right. Evan, I always appreciate the fact that you get right to the point and are very succinct. So I appreciate that. Safe travels. Stay safe in Israel, and I look forward to having you in the studio at some point in the near future.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. Bye.
Bye.
We'll be right back after the break.